Good morning, guys. Based on the Google Classroom form or question that I asked about what you guys need some help on, a lot of you said that you need some help with getting ideas and then also how to get started. So that's what this video is going to be about for you. So what I've been doing in my classes with other students is something I'm going to encourage you guys to do, and that is to just do a couple of quick writes. If you do this activity, it'll take you 15 minutes. And if you think about it, that's probably 15 minutes well spent instead of just sitting there staring at a blank page for who knows how long until you try to come up with an idea. So what I want you to do is open up a Google Doc, and you're going to set a timer on your phone, or you can use onlinestopwatch.com, and you're going to write for 5 minutes, and you're going to keep writing for 5 minutes until that timer goes off. Because what happens is if you are asked a question and then you put down the first answer that comes into your head, that's an okay thing, but you might have an even better answer or something that's going to strike a more inspiration in you, like the third or fifth or last option of what you keep going. So you don't want to just go until you feel like, okay, well, that's all I've got. Keep going, push yourself a little further, write for the full 5 minutes. So the first question that I want you to answer is you're going to write, my cursor isn't typing here. Let's try that again. I am, and you're going to complete that sentence. So for me, I am a teacher. I am idealistic. I am creative. I am a mom. You'll see that some of these things are nouns that describe me: a teacher, a mom, a Harry Potter fan. But then some of them are adjectives like idealistic and creative and sensitive. So I'm going to keep making this list for 5 minutes. When the timer goes off, look back at your list and ask why. Why am I a teacher? Oh, there's a story I could tell there about how I got started into teaching, or what I love about teaching, what keeps me going with that. Idealistic. When? Okay. When is a time that I was idealistic that I can use to show that? Or what if I put like creative, I just make a list and show brief moments of every time that I've been creative, and maybe all of that added together will create a story. Try that out. Next, you can spend 5 minutes making a list of what objects could symbolize your life or a period in your life. So, for example, for me, when I think about this, I could write about my little blankie from when I was a kid, and I can describe that for a little bit, and then I think that could end up just representing my childhood. But then I'm also thinking about, it's ratty and gross by the end. I think there was even a piece of gum that got stuck in it. Okay, it was gross, messed up. But when it was late at night and there was a thunderstorm, I still loved having that blanket with me for a sense of security. And that kind of represents my home life in high school. It was messed up. It was not pretty to look at. There were a lot of problems with it, but when it came down to it, it was still my home. That was still my family. And so it brought that sense of security. So, just spend some time free writing about those items. You can make a list if you want. I could also write about, I know I am a charred picture. When I was in high school, my house burned down. And there's a story there. I can talk about what happened and where I was, my reaction to it, things that I learned from it. It's great if you have like some kind of reflection piece that gives meaning to it. Even though my house burned down and whoa, that's not something that happens to everybody. If I don't connect it to the reader, to myself, it's not going to mean anything. So bringing in that reflection part is going to be important. And then the next one I've got for you is to make a list of emotions, times when you felt these emotions. And then think about when you felt betrayed, or a time when you felt bitter, or excited, embarrassed, proud, joyful, nostalgic. That means like, oh, way back in when, I remember, heartbroken, maybe frustrated, confused. Just keep going. If you need help, Google some different emotions, because different words might spark different moments for you. And just start making the list of things. Okay, every time I remember feeling betrayed, every time I remember feeling bitter, until the timer goes off. And then see if there's a story in there that you might want to tell. So if you've done all these things, that should take about 15 minutes and hopefully it comes up with an idea. If you're still stumped after doing this activity, maybe it would be a good idea to come in a conference because some of you might be verbal processors, which means you need to talk through your ideas. All right, then once you have an idea, what do we do to get started? This is always a really difficult part. How do I begin? One option, don't start in the middle. Instead, you can start with the part in your head that you know you want to tell. So, for example, if I wrote about when my house burned down, I don't know exactly when I want to start my narrative, but I do know that I'm definitely going to have to put in there that my house burned down. So maybe I just start writing about that moment of when I found out and then see what happens. After I write the part that I know I want to have in my piece, then I can look back and think, okay, now what does my reader need to know before this in order for this section to make sense? And then I can go from there. Another thing that you can do is just start at the beginning, knowing you will have to revise. I could go ahead and start with the entire trip of where I was. I was visiting a friend in Wisconsin, and so I wasn't home, and then lead up to when the fire happened. And sometimes that's good just to organize your thoughts. And many students find that after they've written kind of what's beginning in their head, down here is the secret, beautiful beginning that jumps right in the action and is perfect to actually get started. But they wouldn't have gotten there unless they started telling all this detail at the beginning that then they can edit out or maybe fill back in later on with a flashback. So, two ideas to help get you started. Either start at the beginning and just go and know that you'll cut a bunch of that later, or start where you know something is going to have to be included and write that scene and then work your way backwards. It's best to just get something down on paper. I hope that was helpful for you. Again, you can send me an email or come in and talk to me. I'm always willing to help you out.